12. So be sure to cover those ears, cover those kids. Be careful out there driving. Looks like the roads are pretty good right now, but just be careful and stay warm. All right. It is Tuesdays. You know what that means?
I have a constitutional right to bear arms.
Look, I got my rights.
I know my rights.
It's my right as a man. So now I'd like to exercise my right to free assembly.
This is 2A Tuesday on the new Freedom 96.9.
It's 2A Tuesday, and here to help us out with that is Mr. Don Spencer. Good morning, Don.
You know, the only thing colder than the temperature outside is legislation being introduced at our state capitol. You would think, I don't mean to interrupt you, this is just so incredible. You would think you would have to go to a state like New York or California or Washington State or even Illinois, Chicago, to have the nation's most aggressive anti-Second Amendment bill introduced. But no, all you got to do is travel to Duncan, Oklahoma, Senate District 43, where Senator Jessica Garvin has introduced Senate Bill 1616. And what this bill does, in fact, let me read the paragraph she's added, real short. For the purpose of this section, this is section 1289.16. It comes under felony pointing of firearms. For the purpose of this section, a firearm shall mean any shotgun, rifle, pistol, imitation or homemade pistol, altered air pistol or toy pistol, machine gun, sawed-off shotgun, rifle, or any other device capable of expelling a projectile by use of some type of force. So this means if your kid's got water pistols or Nerf guns and they're pointing them at each other because they are a toy pistol, your kids are now involved in a felony.
Insane.
A felony. A rubber band gun, or even if you put a rubber band around your finger and you point it like a pistol, this could be considered a felony in the state of Oklahoma.
Okay, so
thank you, Senator Garvin.
Let me play devil's advocate just for a minute here.
Okay.
So is the purpose?
You know it's not going to help you.
I know. So is the purpose to? So if someone robbed a bank with a fake gun, or an adult using something and it posing as a real gun, it was actually a toy. Is that what's driving this? You think?
It's already illegal. It's already a felony.
Okay. So there's no need for more legislation, and especially one that would be so far-reaching that it would. Does this include minors? I mean, would this impact minors?
It includes. It says anybody. I mean, it applies to any person.
Wow.
Because it says any person.
Okay.
So it's insane what is done, and also to even weaken our rights more, she took the word in paragraph B. She took the word weapon, crossed it out, and added the word firearm. And what that means is now that a person could point a knife or a sword or something at another person, and it would not be a felony anymore, but a toy pistol would be. It's absolutely asinine. There is no thought process, and Moms Demand Action is going to be giving her the best awards they can come up with.
So this is like strike two here for Garvin when it comes to 2A legislation.
Bingo. Correct, because she also wants to make you a felon for peacefully carrying a firearm if you're on a school campus, which is absolutely insane. We already reversed that 10 years ago, and she's actually going against the pro tems bill that actually got it done, and he received an award from OK2A for doing so.
Wow. Well,
so we're going to be keeping people well informed of this.
Exactly. That's why we have this segment, so we let people know. What was that bill number again?
Senate Bill 1616 by State Senator Jessica Garvin down in Duncan, who is up for re-election, and I will remind the constituents of that area, you guys fire your senator every 4 years. Just keep the tradition.
Okay. Now, do we know what committee this bill will be headed to?
I would assume it'll be in public safety. Obviously, the NRA, I've already sent it to them, GOA, and they're just rolling their eyes also, cannot believe such. This is it's malpractice. It's legislative malpractice is what this is.
For sure. Well, and, this is a call to action. to everyone, all you guys out there in Duncan, be sure to give Senator Garvin a call. Let them know that this needs to just go away. We'll just pretend like this didn't happen and just let it die. And then, when we know what committee this is headed to, we need to be sure to give that committee chair a call and say, we do not want this heard in committee either. And so, let the voice of the people rise. We got to let them know what we will tolerate and what we won't.
Well, the other part, too, is go ahead and bring it up in committee, vote it down, kill it, and be done with it.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's why we have to be on guard here in Oklahoma.
Would you have ever thought those Nerf guns you mess with your kids with would be a felony status?
My wife has a crazy story. Whenever she was in college, they had some youth in the car. They went to somewhere in Missouri. And so they were driving back and they stopped at a gas station and they bought like these whole pack of these water guns, right? And they're like blue and pink and green and yellow. And so being stupid, they pulled up next to the other car, told them to roll down the window, and they started shooting them with water guns across the lane. Completely stupid. But they ended up pulling into a gas station, and when they did, they were immediately surrounded by like 10 cop cars. They all came out drawing the weapons, telling them, get out of the car, get out of the car. And they're like trying to figure out what's going on. And they were like, where are the guns? Where are the guns? And my wife's like, she just started laughing, and she said, you mean the green and pink water pistols? Then she pulled them out, and they all said, oh, my gosh. And they all just said, you guys stop doing that. And they just left because they were embarrassed. But somebody had called them in on the road. Now, if this law would have been in place, they could have been arrested, and now they have a felony on their record.
Right. Here's the other part of this, is that they say, well, obviously a district attorney would use discretion, and that would never happen. That is total BS. These district attorneys are backed by George Soros. This is exactly the chaos they want to destroy families with felony charges, even though it may not ever go to full prosecution. You know as well as I do to hire an attorney to defend yourself. There's definitely law enforcement that would make the mistake of making an arrest with this, and the judges would be horrible enough to prosecute with it. It's a nightmare.
Right.
It's absolutely insane.
Well, I want to bring attention to this related story, because it's the issue of gun regulation. In our neighbor, New Mexico, of course, we've already seen Governor Grisham with her crazy leftist approach to gun regulation, and she continues that with a new package. It includes the Firearm Industry Accountability Act, which would amend the state statute to allow gun manufacturers to be held liable for deceptive trade practices. And again, a very vague statement about what is deceptive trade practices and how would that be applied. And she even has on board several Republicans, Senator Greg Baca, the Republican minority floor leader. Well, he's actually accusing the governor of taking a hyper-partisan turn, but there are some Republicans that are on board with this. My concern, being right next door, when we see legislation like this coming from within Oklahoma, is will stuff like that begin to bleed over into our state? And we already know that a lot of Republicans up there are moderates, and would they entertain increased gun regulation in the state of Oklahoma? I think they would.
It already has, because Senator Garvin, chair of, forget the committee, also brought up House Bill 2218, voted it down, and it was so discrimination could not take place against the Second Amendment gun industry. She voted against that, too. She may as well be friends with the governor of New Mexico.
Wow.
They got to be holding hands.
Yes. Well, it's time for the voters to step up and, like you said, make sure we get somebody in that seat that really reflects the conservative values of the people of Oklahoma. Man, Don, I so appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Tell that bill number one more time.
Senate Bill 1616, and have a good day.
All right, Don, God bless. That's Don Spencer with OK2A for your 2A Tuesday update. You guys stay tuned. I got more after the break. Going to be looking at this